Alright, Krypton, episode 4. There's a lot going on in this episode. A lot of different stories and plots, like converging, intertwining. It's actually pretty good. Very Game of Thrones, chess piece, strategic, political type shit going on here. Uh, Krypton is. Well, let's start off with Rom. It's looking like she's not going to make it. After what happened, and this leaves her daughter Ona, I believe her name is, kind of up for grabs. Like they don't know how to handle this situation. Seg, especially Kim, um, Adam Strange, they don't know what to tell her, how to tell her that her mother is pretty much gonna die, and they don't know what to do with her. They have ideas or whatever, but they just this situation is a lot for them, and Adam Strange always says the best things, like, I'm gonna go and think about smoking. I like that. Because that's how you are when you're trying to quit smoking. Uh, but, the Raw, we actually get to see him from behind with his helmet off for a minute. He's with his people, and they're talking about, you know, having to fix all the unrest that was caused in the previous episode. They're going to have to go down there. They're gonna have to go down there and like appeal to the people because the people are pissed about what the Sagittari did. So Raw goes down there looking to, work miracles and bring about some kind of level of peace amongst the community. But they're saying some pretty dark things, like, and it's a dangerous situation, so they have to figure out how to relabel this situation. Raw basically says that we've got to find somebody to blame so they don't blame me. And unfortunately, uh, Darren decides that he's going to have Loita framed for treason, which upsets all kinds of things because Zods have always been known as loyal, have always been loyal, and now she's looking at the same kind of death sentence Seg's grandfather got. So Seg turns to uh, Nisa or Nissa, um, to see what she can do to try to help her. She kind of plays with him, and he admits that he's in love with her. That's why. And she says that she pretty much already knew that, just needed him to admit it. So now she goes to her father, you know, complaining to him that that Seg is the main piece to the puzzle of us, and they reveal their plans are to overthrow Ra and take control of Krypton, supposedly for the people or whatever. Uh, they want to take control. They want to commit treason. They want to overthrow him. But now things are looking pretty bad, as Seg's the only one. He's their main piece of the puzzle that can make that happen. But now what he wants is Loita free, and Loita is also a big piece of the puzzle because Loita dies, you know, they lose that. They lose the Zod's backing. They lose Seg's backing, and she's complaining to her father about how he framed Loita for this, and because the woman that actually committed all the crimes in the last episode that Loita had uh, arrested is now did a whole different kind of confession where it frames Loida in a bad light, and they found, she claims there was a bomb on one of them, and they found a bomb on the body, and he just set up this whole thing to incriminate and frame her so they have somebody to blame. But now the concern is without Seg's trust, because Seg completely believes that Loida was framed for this and all that. Without Now she's concerned about losing Seg's trust, and by losing his trust, and also losing uh the Zod, Lloyd Azad. You're gonna make it very difficult for you to see your plans through, and the father's just like he won't go back on what he's made. He can't go back on that plan. Yeah, and then Lloyd's mother, I cannot remember her name, but she is very shocked and concerned, and she's trying to get answers from her daughter because she knows her daughter didn't commit treason. She's trying to figure out what her daughter's trying to protect, what information, and she knows it involves Seg to some degree, but she doesn't know to what degree. And Loida won't give up Seg. Nisa comes in saying that she's gonna pretty advocate for Loita, uh, and they have a conversation briefly, and then Nisa also has a conversation with Loita's mother in private, where she actually comes to her and admits that their plan is to overthrow Ra and give Krypton back to the people, and and she wants to enlist her to help with that, but the only way. The only way her daughter will be saved is if she helps them do that, commit treason, and she's a Zod. She's always been loyal. So, of course, she grabs her by the throat and she's like, "You expect me to commit treason or whatever and overthrow Ra for one tyrant for another?" Something to that effect. And she's just like, "That's the only way to save your daughter." Outside of that, we got other things going on with uh, Ona or Ona, I think. Uh, Kim, and he's spending a lot of time with her, and it's some pretty emotional scenes where he's having to talk to her about her mother and all that, and that stuff is pretty good. On the other side of things, you know, Kim, not Kim, but Seg decides that he's gonna get Rom's body and he's gonna take it to try to get Loida free of her crimes. He's going to present the body as evidence, and Adam's got a problem with that because that's their only chance at stopping Brainiac. But Seg foolishly, like, hey, there is no Krypton without Loida, so he goes dick mode and punches Strange out, and he tries to take off to get the body, but he ends up getting jumped by somebody revealed earlier in this episode, disguised as Sagittari. It's the black guy they talked about in previous episodes that's been rising through the ranks of the Black Zero. And so he gets tasered by a woman that works with him, and he gets taken, tied down to a chair, and tortured by some sort of creature. And he's met with the commander, this guy that's risen through the ranks. So they put this creature in his head to try to make sure that he wasn't one of Brainiac's drones. And after that conclusion, he tries to get answers out of him about Brainiac, but in turn, Seg tries to get answers out of him about how he even knows about Brainiac. And then Seg tries to accuse him of being Black Zero, that this whole compound and weapons and all that's Black Zero. He says he's not actually Black Zero, that he isn't, he just enlisted their help to get weapons and stuff, and he doesn't work with them. His people are his own people, and they follow his orders. Black Zero's an entirely separate thing. So he also makes several comments in the episodes, like he's known House L for a while. Uh, and mostly throughout this episode, like, you have Seg tied down to a chair, and you have all the politics and stuff going on, all the like potential backstabbing, and then you have Raw like descend into the poverty areas another time, and Kim is with Ona, and she has like this action figure she's been carrying around. She gets lost in the crowd, and the security tries to keep her back, but Cam like steps in the way and kind of begs for them not to hurt her or whatever, that she's just lost her mother and she's in mourning and she loves Ra more than anybody and she just wants to give him this action figure as an offering. And you know, it's kind of funny because he kind of Kim fixes everything for Ra by pointing out the obvious. Show her you love her too, and by showing her you love her, you show the people you love them. And so Ra decides to take her hand, take her up, and take her figure and make her a novice priestess and have her join, you know, his little his little religion or whatever as a novice priestess, and it it solves the whole unrest amongst the people. But uh beyond that, she gets to go live up there with them now. But beyond that, you get back to Seg, who's just he tries to escape his chair. Well, before he tries to escape his chair, when he's talking to the commander, the commander is talking to him, and he's kind of dickish to the commander. So one of the commander's men hit they hit Seg, and then the commander ends up breaking that dude's neck for hitting Seg, and it shows that he's a pretty dark person, that he does not care about his own people. So he's pretty psychotic and hell bent on on his mission, and nobody will get in the way of that, and he does not care. But you also have them talk about how the how that them talking about whoever the host was, if they're not dead, they're still the host, or something to that effect. And that comes in. Adam Strange goes to visit the grandfather and ask him questions. There's a joke in there about Doctor Strange too, like, 'cause it says, "No, you can't call me that either." But he's talking to the grandfather, and they're talking about the body. Rom, well, she's still alive at this point. They're talking about her, and he's got her in this machine, like studying her vitals and all that. And then she has like a surge of energy and wakes up briefly black-eyed, and she's like, "You gotta stop Ona." And then she dies, and Adam is confused by what she meant. But I think it's pretty obvious what she meant. And going into Seg, he ends up escaping from his facility where he's being held, and he climbs out to the top and gets free. He's stuck out like in the snowy outskirts, the forbidden areas, the danger zones, and you'll have Loida and her mother comes in and sits near her, and I guess she's contemplating what to do next. And then you have Ona revealed come back down, and she like reads off. She gives like a speech on behalf of Ra, as she's now one of the priestess, and Kim is very happy to see that. But when we get to the final part, though, when Ra is alone, he's looking at the action figure. A thing bursts out of there and stabs him, and he gets infected. It, and as what's going to happen from there is he's going to be the new host for Brainiac. But overall, the episode was pretty good. All around, pretty good acting. Kept the tension up. Uh, some the whole mythology, the culture of it. It's really nice to see how all this plays out, and the conflict between the people and the government, essentially. Uh, can't wait to see what the next episode brings. So, I'd give this episode probably 7 out of 10. Like, subscribe, check out my other videos, ring that notification bell, check out my GoFundMe. link and my PayPal link. I'm not monetized. If you want to support my channel, those are ways to do so. Stay awesome. Rock on.